Hey, you.
Hello.
Hi.
So, filming on a Greek island, super yacht, not bad gig. What was your go-to Greek island drink?
Oh.
Oh.
Well, I mean, the reality is it's Coca-Cola. That was our...
Yeah.
That
was
really
our
was
daily...
the go-to. It was quite hot, and I
Yeah.
think we both just found it really useful, having
Full
a
fat
full
Coke.
fat Coke.
Very useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll get you out of trouble every time, a full fat Coke.
There we go.
Which is better when you're working rather than
Wine
anything. Yeah, wine
or spirits
in the middle of the day.
in 40 degrees.
Yeah.
So you're in there working, getting stuck into it. Did you have time to like meet each other, get to know each other, and develop that family bond that you see so clearly in the show?
We had a little bit of rehearsal time, didn't we? Which is quite unusual
I've
for
forgotten
TV.
about that actually.
Memorable,
we just
memorable
had
times with me.
No,
Thanks, Freddie.
it never
I
felt
remember
like
it well.
rehearsal. It
No,
wasn't.
no,
we
no,
we
didn't,
sort
it
of.
didn't.
I think there was an attempt to encourage us to rehearse, but actually
We didn't do that.
it felt like we were just quite on the same page in terms
Yeah.
of what we needed and had a
I
nice
think it was
natter.
described as a page turn, so we
Yeah.
just sort of went through the script. So if we had any questions and things, that we were able to talk things through
Yes.
before we got on set, and then took up 3 hours of everyone's day.
Yeah. Did you find yourself having that family bond together? Do you ever find yourself telling him off or anything?
Did I tell you off?
No.
Did you tell me off?
I think I would
so.
say it felt quite familiar. I feel quite
Yeah, I'd
close
say as
to
well.
you.
We were on an equal footing. Yeah.
It's the Aquarian side to us. I think we
Yeah.
just really hit it off.
You're both
Yeah.
similar star signs, is that one?
I think we're the same,
We're both the
right?
same
I don't know if
star
we're the
signs, yeah.
rising. I don't know enough.
4 days
I've
apart.
opened my up to a
20
whole
years and 4 days apart.
a whole conversation that I know nothing about. But I do know that we
It
are both
sounded
Aquarian.
good though.
I know, and then it was like, are we rising? Are we not? I mean, absolutely, who knows? But we
Fire
You're
did.
dragons.
just chucking out words that you kind of know
I
generally.
think you can be rising and not and descending. But we're both, whatever it is, we're both the same.
Yeah. Aquarians.
Doing a mini-series, how does that compare versus doing a film? Or both of you have obviously been in lots of long-form series. How does doing a mini-series compare to that? Do you find yourself being able to experiment more with the acting?
Sort of the day-to-day isn't really any different, is
No.
it? It's quite a good thing if you're not enjoying it, because you know that there's an end in sight. In a way that long form you're in there if you know that it's going to go on. But no, it's not
I
really.
don't think we ever felt stuck though on
No.
this. No, just to clarify.
No.
With each other, I think the difference is more in the style of storytelling, and I think this show is very. It has this big thriller engine. Yes, there are kind of comedic bits to it in the same way Harry and Jack did so well with The Tourist, but there's such a pace to the storytelling that I think in a miniseries, when you have 6 episodes to get through these sort of brilliant twists and turns and reveals at the end of every episode, that's where I noticed the difference as opposed to a kind of longer form show.
And you brought up the comedy. Do you feel that your characters use comedy to deal with things themselves? I find that your character seems to use it as like a tool just to help herself get through this dark thing that she's going through.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's more kind of sarcasm with her, really. And then I think the humour comes out of that, rather than her thinking that she's saying something funny, or being witty. It's a sort of dark comedy and a sort of sarcasm, really.
Agreed. Yeah.
Agreed. So you voiced Lara Croft. Is this your first time doing action? What drew you to the genre? Were there any
No, it's not my first time. It's probably the most action I've had to do myself. But actually, the thing that kind of felt a little bit more like an aside to the characters and the central story and this relationship, so it wasn't a big part of it for me. It wasn't I wanted to go and do something actiony.
Show off your skills.
And
Keeley
show
does
off my
have the
skills.
skills though. There was in episode 2. There's a
Skills.
brilliant stunt sequence that was all Keeley.
So,
So yeah,
here to tell
keep
the tale.
watching.
And Freddie, for you, what do you think is the biggest misconception about your character? Something the audiences might misread when they first meet him.
I guess Edward, my character, does have a lot of secrets too, and I think probably at the beginning, because of the big obvious secret that Julie has been keeping from him, the attention is more focused on that. But I would say that Edward also has made some bad choices and got himself into a few sticky situations, and so there's more to him than meets the eye, as we'll continue to find out.
And you mentioned the secrets. Have you ever had a family member reveal something to you? Not to get too personal.
I guess the short answer is yes. I mean, I'm sure someone has told me a secret, but I'm a very good secret keeper, I think.
Yeah, I forget.
Yeah, I think you do.
Literally,
I think
the
you
next
do.
day I'm like, what was that?
I'll be like, wink, wink
That
about this
thing.
secret. You're like, sorry,
No
what are
idea.
you talking about? And
So,
then you have to say it all over again.
I'm great with secrets.
Yeah.
And what made you sign on to the project as executive producers? How was your influence with that?
I don't know. I guess it felt like a part of, given where things were at in the process when both of us were brought on board, it felt lovely to be able to be involved in the wider process and to sort of have that collaboration with Jack and Harry and everyone at Two Brothers and Amazon. Obviously, it felt, it felt nice to have that input and help shape it all the way through to the edit as well.
Yeah,
But
and we both have experience, particularly Freddie has, you have lots of experience and lots to bring to that. So it felt like we could be kind of effective in different ways that were quite useful.
And that we were all, I think everyone was on the same page. It was a really, I'm sure you have lots of people who you speak to who say it was all wonderful and rosy and everyone had a wonderful time and it was all very easy. But it truly was in this case that everyone had that exact same tone in their head of what the show wanted to be from the very beginning. And I think that made it such a joy to work on.
And they're a really collaborative bunch.
Yeah.
The other producers and execs and our writers and creators, and everybody just wanted it to be the best it could be.
Final question. What's something that each other do as scene partners that the audience might not see but you deeply appreciated about each other?
Oh, that's a nice question.
That's nice, but you have to think of something nice now.
Prepped. You are so well prepped, and I really appreciate that. That's quite an obvious thing. But
But
you
is a nice
are,
thing.
and you've really, you come to everything and every day, having really thought about what we're going to do, and then that takes the pressure off me because I haven't. No, it's a lovely, it's very comforting, and it's great to have somebody who knows their stuff and is so brilliant, and just everything really.
Well, that's
Just
very lovely.
everything.
My pulse is just increasing as I like which of the many wonderful
What
things
the
about
hell
you
can
to
I
choose.
say?
No, I would say that as a scene partner, it's so fun to work with Keeley because there's this element of there being a kind of sparring and a back and forth, and you're alive and you're able to respond to things in the moment as opposed to it feeling too sort of pre-prepared, and it always felt very organic. And I also think just Keeley's attitude and optimism and positivity, sometimes it was hot and there's always things that go wrong when you're filming and when you're doing quite an ambitious shoot like this of going off to new locations every single day and encountering the inevitable problems that come up. But I think you were just always just found it funny and humorous and never brought any sense of negativity to it and just set the tone in such a lovely fashion.
I wish I'd said that about you now.
You can
Sorry,
if you want.
I can't be saying.
I thought what you said was quite
Same.
nice. I had longer to think of it though.
You did.
Yeah.
You really did. While I waffled on. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey, you guys!
Hey you guys!